Greetings and welcome into Ankh Plays. Thanks for joining me here in Anvilseal, where we continue our playthrough for episode 96 here in Dwarf Fortress. Thanks for joining me. And you probably already are aware that Dwarf Fortress just got recently patched. We're up to 53.16. I think we'll take a look at some of the patch notes, perhaps, if we get a little bit of time in this episode. We are continuing to clear out our area here for our Obsidian Fortress, and things are going quite well. We're at -7 at this point. We do have some serious work to do to get this thing going, but that's the journey of the game. Meanwhile, we have Kol growing up. Let's take a look at Kol real quick. Another coming of age. Fantastic. Little dwarven child here, as he is. Leonard Catten, or Seedchanneled, if you will. Just getting away from mom and starting out on his own. He's going to go pick up some equipment, is what it looks like. He's probably going to be gathering some clothes, as most of our dwarves do. This fortress is going to become very, very young. In no short time. Bemble becoming a weaponsmith there. That's interesting. But the average age of this fortress is dropping significantly. I know that we've kind of looked at this a couple of times before, but you can see the number of children that we have in this fortress is absurd. It's a long time coming. I am a little concerned. Like, this is this is late spring. We're 30 years in, and we only have about 208 houses according to my notes. And so we might actually have to do some focus splitting here and get to work on some additional housing, especially because in the next few years these children are going to start growing up. They're going to want their own place to live. They're not going to want to be living with mom and dad for that long, or mom, depending on how you look at things. So that's a thing. It's a thing, and we have to be ready to respond to that. Now, what collapsed here? Over here? How did you end up over there? I don't see anything over here. It was obviously a collapse. Well, I guess I don't know how we managed to get that thing collapsed, but another miner with minor injury. Our miners have not had a good go of dealing with these stairwells. I will say that. It's not an easy thing to do, unfortunately. And, as I look at this, there's a lot. Maybe next time I should just not dig the way that I've been digging, because this has gotten, it's at the point of absurdity at this point, with just how crazy things have been here. And, it's kind of the way that it goes, right? Like, there's been some times where I've thought to myself, I should really do a better job at this. And then there's a certain amount of entertainment, a certain amount of blood, sweat, and tears that have to go into building a fortress like this. So please forgive my cavalier attitude for how some of this has gone. But, I mean, we're back into the happy area. I don't know if we actually have any... that might actually be... We just climb up that way, so we'll just do that. And then we'll do that. Do that one, too. There's definitely... Yeah, I can do that. I can actually do all of this here. Perfect. There's definitely been some hesitation on my part in recent episodes, and in fact, I've often thought perhaps I should just scrap this entire project. It's extremely hazardous to our dwarves' health. Kib's taking that. We got another collapse here. But at this point, it's one of those principal things, you know? So, myths and magic. It's getting closer. How close is it? Well, we don't really know. Word on the street is that it's going to be rolled out in single, in kind of a drip, more of a, instead of a big splash, which is probably fine. I don't see a problem with that. I will say that I think my preference would be to have a big splash, but, you know, hey, that's the way that it goes. And the folks who do Dwarf Fortress can certainly release how they want to release things. Let's take care of that. Now, I do like some of the stuff that they've been doing and some of the things that they're talking about implementing in the game. I would really appreciate it if there was just a little bit of some of this digging stuff. Man, I mean, can we just make some of this better, you know? Can we make it so that there's not like dwarves are a little bit more intelligent with whether or not they're going to collapse stuff? You know, it seems I don't know, if you've got legendary miners, shouldn't they be a little bit more knowledgeable about what potentially could happen if they dig a certain tile? That's my immediate complaint. Overall, I'm very happy with the state of the game. I think it's in a great spot. I'm still really enjoying it. And I have a limited number of hours. It's in the hundreds. It's not in the thousands. I still learn things about this game every day. And, you know, I think there's some beauty to that. That's really what Dwarf Fortress is all about, if you ask me. There can definitely always be improvement, and it seems like the team has done a really good job of progressively improving things. How's that? I can say it like that, I guess. Just trying to trim off some of the rough edges so we can go big or go home later. This area here is actually quite a fall. It's quite a distance to fall, so we don't want people to be falling from that height. Certainly have to be careful, so this one can come off to this edge here. This can come off to here, and then we can break this stuff down. We can do this one and that one. Oh, hey, look at this. This is great. Excellent. And they can get there. I think I've dug those two tiles before. They can't get over to this area just yet. And I don't think they can actually get back over this direction either. They have to climb across this area. This is all, I can just dig that out. Same with this, that, and that. Most of this is walls now, so that's okay. This is right above the spider silk gathering station. There's a walkway out here, and this is all dug and ready to go, so we can actually deconstruct that. We do need to get on top of here. Hang on a second. We do need to get rid of... I think that's a floor. Yeah, definitely a floor. We need to get rid of that floor first. Let's get rid of that. Probably could get rid of this floor at the same time, too, because this is just a ramp up here. I don't think anybody's going to fall. Now, this could all probably be dug out just sequentially here. Just because there's plenty of support for all of this underneath. Those guys we'll have to be careful with, so we'll do that carefully. The king wants us to build some stuff. Let's not get too distracted. Three more gauntlets coming up, Your Excellency. Using copper for now. We have a lot of copper. I'm not super worried about it. Oh, and they caused a collapse. I don't know what to tell you guys. Mining is dangerous. That's all they'll say. Let's cancel this. I think the only way up here now is... There shouldn't have been any problem with that. They have to climb up this way and then come through here. That was a pretty serious collapse. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we can dig this. Let's dig that. Let's dig this. And this. I don't know how they get onto that. Let's build a floor over here. That's a wall. Nothing to catch in the swamps. Not entirely surprising. Ooh, that's the only way to get to that stuff. Let's not do that then. To work backwards here. I don't know, this multiple iron in the fire philosophy that I've got going on might not be the most efficient way to do this. It seems like we're keeping them moving around a lot. But I don't know if it's the most effective way to do this. There's definitely some advantages to it, and it keeps things interesting, but I don't know that it's actually as efficient as it probably should be. Checking up here, we've got some gems that are down on this level that could be extracted, sure. Everything along here looks fine. Boy, that looked like the lava had, or the volcano had been breached there. All this is rounded off and squared off. We can actually get rid of you and you. And you. Still a lot to dig through over here. I'm not going to get rid of this stairwell just yet because we were using that. This is a problem for another day right here because we're down below, I think. Yeah, we're still up on -7. So a big chunk of work that needs to be done up here still. Let's order that to be cut away. We can do some more here. It's funny too because my expectation has been kind of like 30 years in. The fortress is pretty self-sufficient. It doesn't require a lot of steady leadership to keep the basic day-to-day functions going. We do need to give it a hand on some of the more advanced things, obviously. And we have to keep an eye out for those types of things. But, you know, for the most part, the dwarves upstairs are pretty autonomous, which has been nice. We just keep an eye on the visitors. We keep an eye on everything else. And the automation mostly takes care of it, which I think is fantastic. I'm really happy with the way that our automation has turned out. There's been some rough spots that we've had to polish. But really, for the most part, not a lot that's, you know, in a situation where we have to really pay close attention. Can dig that out. Oh my gosh, you guys. Why? I don't even know anymore. Maybe we're causing collapses because... Hang on a second. Will we not be able to... Oh, we probably can't get up there. That's fine. Legend Carver's grown attached to a steel battle axe. Excellent. Can we dig this out now? Or did I just put myself in a no-win situation here? Looks like maybe we've got a win there still. These both go down? Yeah, we can do this one. Actually, we'll do the middle one. What was I thinking? We'll do the middle one. I think this can all be carved. And I think all this can be carved as well. I don't know why, but I feel like maybe there's some collapses that are due here. We'll probably find out. And get rid of some of these random staircases that are dotting the countryside here. The bottom of Gold Lake. Not quite there yet. Get rid of that floor. I think that's a floor. Yeah, it's definitely a floor. We'll dig that floor out. We can actually start going here. That's a wall with a door below it, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Keep making progress on these sides here. That's good. Very good, very good, yes. Lots of progress here. Okay, so we still need to deal with this bottom corner here. Let's make this a top priority. Make that one a top priority as well, even though there's no path to it right now. It's not one of those things that I want to wait around for. This should be ready to go here. So they've got a way to clamber across. I don't think we have a way to get over here just yet. Where did we cause this collapse this time? Okay, so removing a stair. I don't get it. I just don't get it anymore. Not gonna lie, too. Like, what the heck is going on here? I don't get that. Okay. So those are walls from this level. I think they can climb back on top of this, so we'll do this. Just see how that looks. Bunch of network of walls here. That's all been carved away. Yeah, okay, so they can still get across to there from this area. And that's been actually carved out. Slowly but surely, you guys. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. Good on that. Oh, you can climb down that way? Alright, well, my bad. Should be able to climb... No. Oh, we have to be really careful with this. This area is going to potentially cause some collapses, so I'm going to look at that in a little bit more detail. Kib's been reelected. Dabbles wants... Ooh, I got to pay attention to this, you guys. He wants some battle axes. No problem, Dabbles. We'll take care of you. Just hold your dwarven horses. Re-elected for the fortress's 30th anniversary. That's quite the honor. I don't know that I've had a mayor that has lasted quite this long. Most of the time, they have a pretty short life, either because they're doing something else that's dangerous inherently, or they get swept up in some other type of conflict. So, that's good. That's good. He's had a very long reign as a dwarf. Let's take a look at Kib here. Mr. Mayor. He did end up marrying Tholtig, if you recall. That was a few episodes ago. I believe it was episode 85, if you're so inclined. But he's marching along. He's going to have some food down here in the royal dining room. They don't seem to have a problem with that. And now he's headed to socialize. No children. But boy, as a mayor, you'd think he'd know a few more people. He doesn't really seem to... He's good friends with Ice Dwarf and Ettenslayer. Lost a friend in Shorest. He was a Hammer Lord. A kindred spirit of the Tavern Keeper. He's friends with quite a few grouchy dwarves for some reason. I know exactly why that is. It's not any surprise to me why he is friends with so many grouchy dwarves. But I think we did just get our new bull. How old are you? 2 years old? Yeah, we don't need another bull. That's Geld. That's the one I want. You'd think I'd know by now which icon does what. It's not like it's been changed in a recent patch. No, sir. Still working on squaring all of this up. Keep the dwarves busy. To be really careful. So this is going to be the way that we're going to get up and down, is over here. We got one thing to do there. Then we can do that and then start carving our way back. 3 more here. 1 more here. We have to do that one at a time. Then we can square that up. Very, very tedious. Very, very tedious. Do we get this stairwell built yet? That's paused. The burrow is paused. We're going to have our woodcutter come down and chop this tree. Post haste. Sometimes trees can interfere with your building. And not in a good way. You want to get them out of there, really. Okay, so they can do that. We've got people who can climb up here. I'm really curious. How are you guys climbing? Oh, dear. That's a long ways to walk. But okay. We at least know how they're getting up there. Let's do that one. Just double checking some of this stuff here is still copacetic. That's going to be interesting. I don't know if they can get up to that spot anymore. I might have just made that impossible to get to. The king is banning exports once again. It's quite predictable fashion. Be a nice long square up there. So they won't be able to get... We have to, like, collapse this down to this point. Why did you do that? Inexplicable. Very strange. No real reason for that. That doesn't make sense to me. Why did you do it that way? That's... Okay. Sure. Stairwell there, which will help us get up here eventually. Taking the cover off of this thing one tile at a time. Okay. Alright, so we actually don't need to do it that way. We can come back at it from this direction here. Hello. There you go. Very good. I don't know that we can... I don't think we can get up here. That's a little wonky, if you ask me. Come back and do this one. Or don't. Can do those two. Should be able to just take those two down, because they're stuck to this little piece here, right? Perhaps no. That's looking nice and clean. Can just do that, I think. We'll just start digging back this way, one row at a time, so that we don't have any more questions of whether or not something is going to collapse over there. We know it's not going to collapse if we do it properly. I think I've actually given a improper digging order there, though. Oh, okay, I see. So it seems like maybe the stairwell tool allows you to build stairs, but skips places where there's branches, which is a little bit weird, because we should be able just to go straight up to here. 2 citizens are stranded. Okay, where do we got this happening? Oh my goodness, there's a bunch of them that are stranded. You guys are stranded. Okay. Well, we can use a floor for that one. Top priority there. You're stuck on... Is that a floor? That's a granite block floor, and there's... Oh, yeah. That's pretty obvious. I'm sorry. The jobs were picked up pretty quickly. I don't think they'll... they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Don't have to worry about... Some dwarves are naturally motivated to climb down the trees. Hint, hint. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. That would be... That'd be illogical, Mr. Spock. Yeah, they're coming. They're coming. Found a good way to strand you guys. Oh, that path's wild. There we go. What are you doing? Get a move on there, buddy. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You're free. Be free! We'll do this. Oh, that's lovely. We're almost there. We're almost there. I think as we're watching these guys dig, I'm going to try my hand at reviewing some patch notes, since we did have a pretty big patch And, I'm not going to lie. I was a little surprised at this patch. I thought there was going to be a little bit larger of an update. Not because I'm hoping for an update, and now I'm disappointed, but just I was kind of thinking about it, and it would make a little bit more sense if there was a bigger update. So I'm wondering if the team tried to get something out, and then maybe just didn't manage to do it, or didn't hit the deadlines, or Dwarf Fortress is an ambitious game. Maybe that was there. There's also part of me that's like, there's a very small team that works on this game. And perhaps that's an explanation in and of itself, right? So, as I go through and look at patch notes, I try not to be too judgy about exactly what it is that they're delivering, because it's not like this is a paid content game, and they're making more and more things. You buy this once and you're done, which is honestly, it's quite amazing. I'm blown away at the dedication of this game, of people, the developers to this game. Zach and Tarn have done a terrific job, and 20 years is really quite an accomplishment for something like that. Look at that. It's all done now. How about that? Now we can get rid of this stuff. That's done. How about up here? Things are coming along. We've got 2 more to do. Lots of miners traipsing in and out of there. So yes, let's talk patch notes. Just taking a look at some of the general updates that have happened. This looks to be, I would say, a quality of life patch for the most part. There's definitely a lot of good things in here that really caught my eye, and I'll call them out as we go through. Fanciful but existent creatures like unicorns appear again and have their materials tracked. So I did have a fortress a while ago that had unicorns. Of course, that was off camera, but they're talking about unicorns specifically in this post, and I had noticed that there wasn't a lot of games that I've been watching, they don't have unicorns in them. And you'd think that you would, at least see 1 or 2 unicorns hanging around, and you just didn't. So very glad to see that whatever bug was plaguing the game there has been now fixed. And, we can get back to seeing some unicorns in games. Also, it sounds like there was some zombies coming back to life and then dying immediately if they were in a rotting state, which is entertaining to me. It's interesting, though, that is on the same line with the unicorns. So I'm not entirely certain what the link between those two bugs is, but it seems like they're at least interrelated to a certain degree. Anyways, I'm glad to see unicorns returning, or as a possibility return. That's great. Great news there. Let's continue. Tavern goers will no longer order a drink from every single tavern keeper in the bar and drink them all, causing them to die of acute alcohol poisoning. Now, I don't know that this is something that dwarves necessarily in our fortress would deal with, because we only had the 2 tavern keepers at the height of our tavern. However, it makes me wonder if there's other bugs or other issues with the way that taverns have been handled in the past. And you guys all know that I don't like the brawls. I can see how random brawls would make sense to a certain degree. That doesn't bother me too terribly much, but it really does seem like there's a lot of... It's very predictable. You put a tavern in, you're gonna have riots. Sometimes those riots are going to be extremely injurious. Extremely injurious to your to your patrons. I don't like that. I do not like that. And so good to see that bug getting going away. Getting going away. Yeah, that's what I said. It's good to see that bug going away. I think that this might actually, if you had multiple tavern keepers, it might actually affect some of the other races a little bit more. If you, say, for example, had a tavern that was open to the public, I think that would probably be a little bit more impactful. Okay. Tavern keeper will now refuse orders for drinks if the one ordering is sufficiently drunk. And the caveat here is if their personality allows. So if you're going to have to be very, very careful about who it is that you choose to allow to be a tavern keeper, and make sure, I don't know what personality traits would make a good tavern keeper. I'm sure that there's some who would make better tavern keepers than others in that they would, not serve those who are overly inebriated. That would be, preferable, obviously. But that's going to be an interesting one to kind of see if taverns, like, for somebody like me, I don't like the fact that you get these huge brawls. And if I could find a way to make it so that dwarves once in a while got drunk, but they weren't like tearing down the entire fortress, that would be very preferable. To instead just saying, you know what, we're not going to have a tavern, because we're like on the verge of doing that here with Anvilseal, right? And I don't like that. I like to be able to, include that part in the game. Whoops, I don't think I want to do that just yet. I think they're climbing across that to get rid of this area. So that's good. Also, dwarves will exercise self-control and not order alcohol from tavern keepers when drunk, if their personality allows. This is probably a good change as well, and I'm interested to see, again, the personality traits really have me curious in this regard. What personality traits prevent dwarves from making those decisions? And, how does that work? How does that work? I'd like a little bit more details on that, please. Saves can be sorted by most recently played now. It's a great quality of life change that has probably been needed in the game for a significant amount of time. Very happy to see that going in. Ordered potential memorial slab engraving jobs by urgency and added some coloration. This is great because we've had to rely on DF Hack for so long to figure that out, that all of a sudden being able to take a look at those labels and see, oh, hey, I haven't finished this particular slab, or this person needs to have a slab engraved, so I don't have any ghosts hanging around out there, is a big plus. Nice job, Dwarf Fortress team. Of course, in the middle of the patch notes, we have a Forgotten Beast coming in as we continue to dig, and that's fine. Let's see. This is the Forgotten Beast, Abad Kengoran, who is a towering, skinless donkey. It's a knobby shell and undulates rhythmically. Beware of its deadly spit. Let's figure out where Abad is at. I'm guessing he is in... I'm going to say he's in this third cavern lair. But no, how wrong I was. This ought to be interesting. Hopefully there is a way that we can trap him still. 2 hostiles. Oh, I forgot. I forgot about M. So we got Deadly Dust and Spittle. And we've got 2 of them. Let's capture them. It's been saying hostiles right there. But let's let this donkey in. Probably should turn on the burrow. And we probably should make sure that everybody's in the burrow. So the burrow is on. Excellent. Hopefully this guy makes his way to an airlock so we can trap him. Seems like he's doing... Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, he is. No? Where are you going? My friend, you are trapped now. You are now property of Anvilseal. And here's what I think we're going to do. I forgot that we had M sitting out in that other corner of the fortress. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to give these two beasts a chance. You know what? We can just do both of them at once. We're going to have to pause our work here on the dig site. We're still making really good progress, though, you guys. Like, I can't complain about this. We'll let the dwarves clear out of the cavern lair. Let's zoom out just a wee bit. Or a lot. We're looking for motion. Looking for something that isn't a spider. Back to the patch notes. Visitors should no longer steal Fortress library books. That's really... I mean, like, have you ever stolen a library book? I can't say that I have. I've never been the guy that steals library books. It's just... It's kind of tasteless, you know? And for those of you who don't know what library books are, there used to be this thing, these buildings in most cities. Lots of cities, right? Lots of cities have libraries. They have a bunch of books that you could go in and you could borrow. So you'd take them home, you'd read them, you'd spend, you know, a few days, a week or two, depending on how long the library would let you borrow things. And you would let them go ahead and go out there and... Oh, Cyril. Anyways, you would borrow these library books, and then you'd have to bring them back, and somebody else could come in and read them, check them out, if that makes sense. I think this is going to be the last dwarf out. It's going to be Cyril here. So we'll watch Cyril, and we'll continue going through the patch notes, and then we'll deal with both of our Forgotten Beast friends here, which is fine. It looks like she's walking with a crutch. She's got a splint and a crutch. It seems like you would have... I guess she's just getting along kind of slow. That's all right, Cyril. Don't worry. Let's speed run a few more of these. So thank God visitors can't take your library books anymore. Disabled, be with family need until isolated residents have ways to be visited by, or contact distant family. I love this change. It's going to be a net positive for your moods in the fortress. Having a bunch of dwarves that have that stacked on top of, you know, a whole bunch of other negative moods makes it really, really difficult to deal with, you know, a dwarf who's really spiraling out of control. So yeah, that's a very good thing. Let's set up our places. Let's get our siege engines ready to fire. We've got our cavern kill box. Welcome to the cavern kill box arena, folks. I haven't forgotten about the patch notes. We're just we're kind of bouncing around here, so hopefully that's acceptable. Let's do one final scan here before we let these bloodthirsty beasts out of their airlocks and send them charging headlong towards the fortress. Ultimately, they'll be dashed upon the rocks like waves on a beach. That's a good thing to take note of, that we've got a bunch of dead cave spiders there. Banning some exports. It's raining up on the surface. We don't care about the surface. Just double check. I think I'm going to call that good. We're definitely going to check on that, and then we're going to go find our hostiles here. We are doing a turnover of all of our yaks. A young yak there. 2 years old. 1 year old. Oh, we might have actually turned them all over, you guys. That was actually pretty quickly. We did that pretty quickly. I can't say that I'm too terribly surprised because these things breed like rabbits. Thank goodness, though. Like, honestly, probably the only reason that we're still alive is a steady supply of yak meat. All right, let's get back to these hostels down here. You, and then let's take care of Auntie M over here. You can come on out. This one's kind of lackadaisical, if I remember correctly. I've forgotten that we had them stuffed in over here, so I was kind of muddling along for a while, if I remember correctly. They were kind of, you know, just following their own path, and they did some exploring. I think they fought some elk birds, too. Maybe my memory is a little bit better than I thought. Added confirmation for changing or clearing hotkey recenter locations. That's not a bad, a little nice quality of life improvement as well. Added various missing attacks to extinct creature people. Not sure entirely what that entails. Changed the growth rates for extinct creatures. Now, I was reading a little bit about this, and I think that there's just something that they wanted to fix with... Come on, Auntie M, you can do it. They wanted to fix with some of the dinosaurs. I don't know that we're going to see any of the dinosaurs in this world, given how old it is. But it seemed like there was people that were running fortresses with dinosaurs and got an immense number of fairly bloodthirsty and war-trainable dinosaurs, and it just, you know, if you're getting clutches of 40 eggs, yes, that's probably realistic, but it's probably not the best way to that's a lot of beasts to be able to have, and that kind of relates to the next one, which is the egg clutch size for various extinct creatures. So yeah, definitely a situation there where some patching of that was needed. Stop caravan from bringing food when it wasn't needed due to seed and overcounting. Seed and drink overcounting. Not sure what that means. Wait a minute. Where are you going? Oh, that's down. Okay, so he's coming up. That's fine. All right. For a second, I forgot which direction our fort was in. Strengthened the effect of unconditional surrender. Probably when you're fighting other factions. Stopped player messengers from being given conflicting diplomacy goals like declaring war and making an alliance. It seems like a very prudent fix for things. Stopped dwarves from being trapped in guild hall skill demonstrations when they had unmet social needs. This is something that I've been wondering about for a long time, is if they did have some type of problem with because I've noticed that there's sometimes always dwarves down there, and I'm like, you have needs, why aren't you going about meeting your needs? You know, I'm sure that these demonstrations are enthralling. Great fix from the team. Great fix, guys. Thank you for that. Strange mood dwarves. We'll just pause this here. Strange mood dwarves will no longer make equipment types from outside their civilization. Happy and sad about that. I think that there's definitely an advantage to allowing them to make whatever they want. So we watch M's final moments there. Oh my god. Yeah, Deadly Dust has been returned to Dust. Who got the kill on that? And it wasn't Illidan. Wasn't Kadol. Not Ice Dwarf. I'll find you eventually. Is it Ashmaker? No. Ashmaker's quite decorated, though. Still on Ashmaker, sorry. Let's take a look at Nish. Not Seabrick. And definitely not the mayor. It was one of these three then. Unib. There it is. Thief Hearts. We'll give him Thief Hearts as a nickname. That's quite... Izumguz is the last name, I think, there. Haim Simple. Unib Haim Simple. That's a name where the Dwarven pronunciation is actually easier to pronounce. All right, let's go back to Abad. He's been patiently waiting his turn. He's very motivated to head on up into the fortress, so... They could, you know, they really could nerf bolt throwers a little bit if they wanted to. I don't think anybody would be angry about that. Fix broken XML export for historical negotiation events. Oddly, they're already shooting at him here as he comes into the room. Ooh, dang! That was a lot more bullets than I thought he was gonna take. Let's take a look and see who grabbed that one. That wasn't a Thief Hearts. I hope somebody got it. Hey, it was Nish. Nish the Siege Operator. We'll give him the name Steam Roar, just because. Just because. Congratulations on your first kill, Steam Roar. May your clan, or may your family and your name live on forever in Dwarven history. We'll pause the burrow. The dwarves can get back to work now. There's just grime there, so no value. A ton of weight. I don't think we can eat that, but it is marked for a job. It's got a mangled 52 shell parts. Oh my gosh. Oh, we gotta let the gunnery crew here get back to work. Good deal, dwarves. Thank you. We dealt with another threat. A whole bunch of fighting notifications for some reason. It is what it is. Just making sure that we've got all of that carved out. There's no current way to get to this area here, so we'll drop a little floor on that. Take a look at what else we've got going on here. Things are looking good here. And we'll keep digging. Keep carving away here, my friends. Maybe... Whoops. Maybe we'll do that. Okay, so we got the broken XML taken care of. Wilderness creature type number further depends on the size of each region. I think that's for world generation. Probably a good change there. Gave... What the heck? Gave recenter information to building destruction and toppling announcements. So if you got a dwarf that's doing some damage to your fortress, you can probably figure out what they're toppling. That's kind of nice. Little quality of life there. Stop tantruming dwarves from targeting farm plots for destruction. I don't know that this was necessary. You certainly don't want a tantruming dwarf knocking out one of your farm plots. That's definitely a bad thing. However, I will say that it does add a certain amount of, shall we say, allure and mystery and tension, if you will, for something like that. That's, I don't know. It's not going to bother me that that's gone. It's kind of a nice change, but at the same time, farm plot destruction, it is what it is. It definitely is what it is. Announcement and recenter buttons should now properly close menus again. Okay, good. And add a description to the top of the burrow menu, which we haven't actually seen. Let's take a look at that. Oh, yeah, there it is. Assigned residents will only perform tasks in any of their active assigned burrows. Which is nice. If you don't know what that whole system is and you're not quite sure how to approach it, well, you've got at least a clue now as to what it is that you might be facing. That's a good change. I'd say that's a good change. We've got some graphical updates. Procedural weapons and armor images appear. Procedural weapons appear when held. Worn armor will have to come later. So we just got the weapons, but that's a great change as well. Another step in the right direction in terms of visibility for what your dwarves are doing. I really like that. I think that's great. Stone short sword should now appear as a held item properly. I wasn't aware that it wasn't a held item. So that's totally fine. Made skill blocks of administrator candidates easier to parse. Administrator candidates easier to parse. Okay, so your administrator jobs are probably easier to deal with now, and choose the right people for the job, which is good. I like that change. That's going to be very useful. Quern and millstone cursors appear properly when placing them. That was kind of a weird thing I noticed a while back, many episodes ago. So that's been in the game for a while. I'm glad they're actually addressing that. That's really great. And then displayed cauldrons properly in night troll layers. So I'm guessing that this is an adventure mode fix, because you wouldn't necessarily see those types of creatures here in fortress mode. At least they're lairs. I don't see how you could. So, definitely that's definitely a good thing. Very happy to see those changes go in. Now, for the Myths and Magic update, they've got some new art that's coming out. They've got a new song, and if you want to go watch the 20th anniversary show where Zach and Tarn, the creators of Dwarf Fortress, play the first ever version of the game from 2006, you absolutely can go do that. You can check it out on the Kit Fox Twitch channel. Look up one of the VODs. It's also on YouTube. You can definitely dig into that. Really like the changes. It's a solid quality of life patch. It brings about a few things that I'm thankful that they're continuing to work on the game. It's never complete. Something like this is probably never going to be complete, but the fact that they're still putting as much time as they are into it is just it's fantastic. I'm really happy about that. So really looking forward to the Myths and Magic. The Myths and Magic update. It's going to be great, you guys. There's a lot of new stuff that it looks like they have planned, and definitely something that has me thinking about the future of Anvilseal and this fortress in particular. Now, don't worry, this fortress isn't going anywhere. We're not changing anything up. We're not throwing anything away. It's not the end of the road for the dwarves here in Anvilseal, who are dedicated themselves to the capital of the Tapered Irons. But it's got me thinking. It's got me thinking. Like, what are the possibilities? What other stories can we follow? What other things do the dwarves can we find? What other adventure can we find? There's definitely some things in this world that don't exist, that have been patched into the game, and just because this world is so old, we don't have access to them. So, yeah, there's some stuff to think about there for me as I continue this playthrough. I'd love to see this Obsidian Fortress get finished. We're definitely going to do that. We're definitely going to do that. I'm not saying that we're not going to do anything else either. It's definitely one of those things that... Oops. We just have to take one day at a time, or one patch at a time. So let me know in the comments what you think of... You're going to get stuck in that tree, aren't you? Oh, nope, you didn't. Okay, good. Let me know in the comments what you think of this most recent patch. Love to hear from you. And, yeah, we'll continue on with our digging here. I think in the future, also, just as a side note, if people are enjoying me going through the patch notes as we do some of the more mundane tasks here in Anvilseal, I'd appreciate you letting me know. We can review some of those patch notes, dig through some of it, and just kind of review it on stream or on video. I don't know that my views into Dwarf Fortress and how it's patched and everything else is particularly insightful or valuable, but I do enjoy the game, and that does count for something. My opinion's only, you know, as big as my house, where I rarely come out of. When I do come out of it, it's for food, because there's no food left in my house. Speaking of food. A lot of hardworking dwarves in this fortress that, you know, really have, you know, not only are we carrying a whole bunch of kids, but we're carrying, you know, a full loadout, a full complement of nobles, which is cool, I think. I mean, it's cool-ish. We have no issue with food or drink. Got plenty of meat. That's great, actually. This has been tedious, but this has actually kind of snapped together pretty quickly, if I'm honest. Like, this is probably one of the easier areas to clear out. This is going to be a section that will be nice to get rid of as well, like, if I'm being honest. This route where they're climbing up onto these trees and then coming through here and then working their way down definitely has me thinking about when we can get started on the obsidian side of this. Speaking of which, we'll probably need to secure some type of obsidian supply. I'm going to break this away. Ah, we didn't do that one. No. Can't believe I'm going to do this. I was going to have them carve all of that out, but we'll have to wait. Have to wait now. We missed a block. Have to be very careful on that, because we could just collapse the whole thing. That'd be the end of that. Do that one. That's an odd way to do that. I guess we could do both of those then. Someone picked up that one. Okay. We'll do those 3. And get rid of that. Just work our way back here. Almost. We'll kind of go back this way and then back this way. Bro, really? I can't say I follow their logic most of the time. It almost seems random. It almost seems random. I don't know how they can get up there. Oh, I guess they just climb up through here? Yeah, okay, this is weird. This is very weird. We can do that piece there. This is all done, though. We'll take these big swaths here away. This will be real easy to carve out here. We'll have to put a new wall around our central staircase. It's gonna be a nice place for dwarves to descend down into the first cavern layer there. Got that taken care of. Get that thing out of there. Can do, oops, hey, do those. And I mean, like, honestly, we could chop down these trees. I'm just a little worried about, like, a tree hitting something and then causing a collapse or a cave-in. I'm kind of over that, if I'm being honest. This might be collapse territory. In fact, I'm almost certain of it, because there's nothing here securing this kind of L-shaped block. So what I'm going to do... let's just drop a wall. That's going to be right under there. That's going to be the pillar that everything sits on while we dig it out. And hopefully I remember that we need to... we need to cut down to that wall. In fact, hang on a second. We can do this better, can't we? We'll just throw another wall down there. It's not like we're short on materials. I would hate to lose our friends here, or risk, you know, another very dangerous collapse. We'll come back to this here, because we can do that pretty fast. I want to get them done on this side. These little ticky-tack type things over here is definitely something that I want to take care of. We can do this, this, and that. Now, these are floors here. I might have just made a mistake there. I'll have to be careful with that. What's going on here? Why are you guys fighting? Granite blocks. Okay. It didn't say it was a collapse, but they're just disassembling stuff and then I guess tossing the granite blocks onto one another. I don't think I've seen that before, or at least I don't recognize that. It's quite entertaining, actually. Sorry, dwarves. Kind of. Yeah, so for level -7, we've basically got everything out of the main part of the cavern, and it's just this centralized layer right here. This big space here that will still need to be carved out. That's all that's left, which is really impressive. There's been quite a few situations where I've really contemplated giving up on this. And I don't know. Like, it's one of those things. It's kind of relaxing for me to just talk and watch these goofballs do what they do. So yeah, perhaps some therapeutic stuff going on for Ankh there. But you know, at the end of the day, we've got you know, an obsidian fortress that hopefully is going to get built. Weather's cleared on the surface. Who cares? It's actually really interesting, and I think I've said this already, but it's really interesting that the fortress can largely take care of its needs if properly automated. Although maybe we'll start to see some moods drop because, you know, there's a problem with our textile industry once again. That would not surprise me to see something like that as we break into early autumn of year 71. Would not surprise me to see some problems with the textile industry. We've got a lot of dwarves who need clothing. Holding steady at 200 population. Haven't seen a migrant wave in quite a while. Got some training going on. We're twice a year on our training, which is totally fine. We won't add any more work to that area. We won't add any more work to this area because they come down through here. We'll make this area a little bit smaller, and then we'll kind of square it off so that, you know, the dwarves actually... You know what? We actually just might... Yeah, we're not going to might. We're actually going to do it. We're going to make this... We're going to build back to this little guy here. I don't know how they're going to dig that one out, but I guess we'll figure it out. Let's make this one priority number 1. Somebody take that... I want to get rid of this thing here. It's very important to... It's very important to my soul that this area gets taken care of during this episode. 2 Forgotten Beasts. You know what? We should look at the... Boy, they made short work. They got all of that cleaned up. That's impressive. And not entirely surprising. They've been pretty ruthlessly efficient since we put that butchering workshop in the kill box. I like that idea. I don't know what possessed me to think about that, but it was certainly a welcome addition. Hey, Cogsack has become a Hammer Lord. Nothing to catch in the eastern swamps, unsurprisingly. Go back to 2 here. Priority 2, not mining, channeling. It's like a stump. That's it. Just the fungi wood trunk. It's rather odd. I don't know. I'm mildly surprised that we haven't seen anything extremely disruptive in this episode. You know, we've got a lot of really, really happy dwarves. That not being able to be with family, I think that's the most impactful to our happiness. And our happiness is great in this fortress as well. I mean, generally speaking, the dwarves are jumping out of their skin with glee, arising from their palatial apartments, taking to the work that they need to do, and, you know, really excelling in that work. And then, you know, as they continue, they, you know, they get their needs met. They have a great mood. That's really, really quite impressive. Got a bunch of miners working out here on this area. We're down about 30 dwarves because everyone goes into training at the same time. That twice-a-year training regimen is at the beginning of spring and at the beginning of autumn. So this is the back half of the year. It's the back half of the training year. Come on up, Dwarf. Just 2 more here. We should send a woodcutter down here and chop down. This is going to be weird, though. Like, cutting down all of these trees in here. There's nothing below this, which is nice. Look at all this lava. We still have our pump stack. I got to remember that. So, up here, we've got a way for water to just spill down into this cavern. And we've got a few... We got a few layers to go here, boys and girls. We still got a ways to go to get down there. But that will be the last part of Gold Lake that gets cleared out. And I'll also say good riddance to Gold Lake at that moment in time, because this kind of turned into a little bit more of a project than I wanted it to, than I was expecting it to. And, you know, I guess... It really is what it is. This is going to be a huge obsidian fortress. And yes, we are using obsidian. We've got to come up with a way to kind of reliably manufacture it. And the fact that we have access to all this lava via 2 volcanoes and, you know, a huge lava moat is going to make that process even easier. But I'll tell you this. I have not thought about any of the logistics of that just yet. So we have a ways to go. Got a little ways to go on that. Gauntlets. Just 2 this time for His Excellency. Not quite ready over there. Not quite ready over here. I'll be happy when training month is over. Limestone is that training month. Lots of fat rendering that's not happening. And at some point, we do need to start long-term. You might be surprised that, you know, we have a long-term goal for this fortress, because this is a pretty well lived-in fortress at this point. But the long-term plan is to get these camels out of here. Get rid of that thing, too. We do have some traders arriving. We've got our doors open. Oh, Talentus gave a name to his iron shield. Slowly pulling things out from out of here. Let's take care of that. Yeah, this might be the time to just take stock a little bit of what we are going to move. Overall trade sentiments are fantastic, and our ruler has attracted great riches. Does that mean that the Tapered Irons is sending us great riches, or are we finding something out there in the wild or underneath the ground that's giving us great riches? Hard to say. Let's move some goods to the trade depot. We'll probably do a little bit off camera of grinding through some of this stuff. And the only reason that I say that is because even for me, this has gotten a little tedious. Not gonna lie. Let's keep some granite amulets. Let's get rid of that thing. Let's take a look. We got 100 pigtail coats. That's good. You know what? We're just gonna get rid of the ones that are bad. Like you. And you. I bought a bunch of extra dye, and it doesn't seem like they have decided that they're going to use that, which is mildly disappointing. So the cloaks and the coats, we seem to have a good stock of. We're staying at a steady 100, which means that our automation is doing fine. I was actually kind of excited about doing this because it allows me to see, you know, if we're running critically low on one of these textile supplies or one of these key clothing items for the fortress. It looks like the dresses, cloaks, and cloaks, I said that twice, are just fine. Not interested in getting rid... Oh, can we do this? Can we do this without... Do you think he'll notice? Oh, this is just the arrowheads. Never mind. I don't want to do that. We don't really need to trade any of this stuff. I'd kind of like to keep it. Look at all the gold bars. 600 and almost 650 gold bars. 1 platinum bar. Tin, trifle, lead, aluminium. That's the British pronunciation. I'm not British, but plenty of coke. Look at all that soap. You know what's funny? Do we have iron somewhere? Did I just blow through the iron? We've got pig iron. I've got plenty of iron. We should be, like, cranking out steel, you guys. That's a little strange. I might check on that just to see how those jobs are looking. Maybe there's just not enough smelters for it. We're not going to go through all the blocks. None of this stuff is worth anything at all. Get rid of that bolt thrower part. I'm just sick and tired of looking at it. We don't want to give them any stone, do we? No, we don't want to do that. We can get rid of some bracelets. I just want to make sure that we don't get rid of bracelets that are artifacts. That would be really bad. I don't see any in here. That's fine, yeah. Try and keep these things cold a little bit just so that we don't have a ton of them popping up. We already have a ton of... We're not even into the C's yet. We already have a ton of item count, so it's really not a... Nah, we don't need to do that. Just those. That's fine. Don't have a lot of cloth. We'll keep some of our granite crowns. Maybe 5 or 6 of them. The best ones. This is an obscene amount of crowns. Dwarves do wear a lot of crowns, to be fair. You can see a lot of them wandering around with an inordinate number affixed to their noggins. And, you know, I always wonder about that. Like, how feasible is that? Let's get rid of some earrings. Good enough. Figurines. I'm just going to trade all of those. Oh my god, we have so many of them. Hopefully we don't trade one away that is an artifact. I don't think we have figurines. Artifact figurines. But we'll see these show up in other places in the world. That'll be kind of cool. Let's see. So we've got all kinds of shoes. 126 pigtail shoes. Okay, so this is looking great. Shoes are fine. We actually have what appears to be an oversupply of shoes. And again, just checking this to make sure that we're getting rid of the crummy ones. We are a little low on socks, which is slightly concerning. I think dwarves have a tendency to wear through socks pretty quickly. So we should have some sock jobs going off. We're not going to get rid of our goblets, although noticing this, we could probably throw a few more goblets down. A few more golden goblets, right? Taking a look at handwear. We are short on gloves, too. Socks and gloves. Big ticket items. I think that the dwarves just wear through them really quickly. We're dangerously low on hoods, too. Okay, so there is something going on with some of our jobs. Socks, gloves, trousers, too. It's almost like we're not getting enough pigtails, because there's not a lot of pigtail, it seemed like. I might be wrong. Yeah, look at that. We're really low on pigtails. Not getting rid of prepared meals. I think we're good with... We'll leave the rings for some other time. And scepters. Plenty of ballista arrows. I don't... Yeah, we can't trade those. That was what I was looking at, though. Plenty of lead statues. Those take a long time to haul, though. So maybe we'll just find a place to throw them down. That's a lot of yarn. Oh, look at this. So we have a ton of pigtail thread. It's just making the cloth that seems like that might be the holdup there. That's probably the holdup. Iron toy boat. Look at that. I don't know who decided to do that. I guess it's fine. It's not like we're running out of iron. Okay, that's good enough. Battle axes. Definitely don't want to get rid of any of our axes. I'd love to be able to get rid of some of these weapons, but it just doesn't seem like a good idea. Okay, and windows. What did that end up giving us? Only 400 items, oddly enough. Okay, so I think we need some weavers, because we have a ton of thread, but we don't have enough cloth for our textile industry to be functioning properly. At least that's what it seemed like. So this would be where we would weave thread into cloth. Let's check on that job real quick. Whoops. So this is a 3, and it's a 30. Weave thread into cloth, and we have... unused greater than 30. Did I just not see that correctly? That's very strange. Something to look at here, because we definitely don't want... thread into cloth. And like, where is this one? Where is that one? Like, We have 2,600 thread. Here's all the thread. Look at all this thread. Is it just not getting hauled? Is that the problem? Because this should be like, what is going on here? It's weird because we got this dyeing thread, but this should be weaving thread into cloth and unused collected plant thread. It is satisfied for next check now. Checked daily. We're going to change this number. That's what we're going to do. Not satisfied for next check. That's so weird. Like, there's got to be at least 30 in here. And there's one that's marked for a job, so obviously it can be used. Oh, what's going on here? Looks like there's been a little bit of a conflict here. Huh. It looks like the traders have run into it. Yeah, that's going to be something that we're going to have to look at because that doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Let's go to the 15th here. More wagons coming in. They've still got a little time before they can unload. Stupid camels, man. I've kind of just given up. Like, they're going to roam around a little bit. If they stay in here for too long, we're definitely going to eat them. Whoops. Oh, we're definitely bringing stuff up. It is now the 15th, so let's see if it checked it again. Weave thread into cloth. Not satisfied for next check. Why? No, what did I just do? We want to add some automation to this. We'll do 100. The amount of thread is at least. Pigtail thread is at least 100. Really? How many do you think that I have? 10. Not 25. Not satisfied. Okay. We're going to leave this here. And as these guys continue to bring stuff up to trade, I'm going to let this run just a little bit. I won't prevent you from catching up on any of the action that's happening in this exciting episode. But we are going to bring this one to a close, and I'll give you a full report of what happens next as the traders are unloading their goods and the dwarves of Anvilseal are also doing the same. Thanks for joining me here in Zunter-Gembisch, the capital of the Tapered Irons. As you're going about your day, don't forget to hit somebody with a little bit of kindness, and we'll see you next time.